The job market remains highly competitive in Calgary, so when you do land a job interview, it's important to make the most of it. And nobody knows that better than Sheila Musgrove, founder and CEO of TAG Recruitment and author right here of the book Hired. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
My pleasure.
First and foremost, what makes January and February such a great time to be on the hunt for a new job?
February is actually a really good time for job searching. Budgets have been approved, the holidays are behind us, everyone's ready to get the year underway. So we do start to see a lot more positions posted in January, or pardon me, in February.
In February.
Yes.
So if you do land that job interview, a lot of times people focus on the questions that are going to be asked of them, but then you get to the end and you don't really know how to wrap it up. So let's get into some mistakes that folks make.
Absolutely. And that is it. People are ready for all those questions. When the hiring manager says to you, "That's all the questions I have for you. What questions can I answer?"
You're blank.
Panic sets in. Panic. I always call it the deer in the headlights look from candidates because they have no idea what to say. And these are the questions that always come out, but don't do these. What's the salary? What are the benefits? How long before I qualify for benefits? Do we close during the holidays? How many weeks vacation? You get it. They're all about the candidate. And sure, all those questions will get answered at some point, but they're not a way to make a lasting impression.
Absolutely not. So what should you be asking instead?
Some really clever questions. So ones that engage the hiring manager in conversation. So you could say to a hiring manager, "Tell me, what do you love about working here?" And that would be an interesting dialogue. You could also ask, "Why is the role vacant?" Or "What would training look like? If I was successful in this position and we were sitting here a year from now in my first year performance review, what things would I have to achieve in order to receive an exceptional rating?" That would engage some dialogue, and it's not those typical questions that everyone asks. And I always say to candidates, there's so much to remember during an interview. Write the questions down, bring them with you. That's okay.
That doesn't look like you're unprepared. The opposite, right? You are prepared.
Absolutely. Makes you look very, very prepared.
And of course, you kind of emphasize this, but you want to almost put the focus back on the employer, not so much on yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely. And a final question you can ask at the end, in my interviews, I always do say, if I haven't called you by next Thursday, please call me. And you know what? Most candidates don't. They don't follow up. So it's also, if that isn't offered, ask the hiring manager, when could I expect to hear from you? And if I haven't heard from you by next Thursday, could I call you? And do call.
Make sure you do that follow-up.
Yes.
That isn't always an awkward thing. You don't know. So once you have done that follow-up, can you follow up too much?
You can. But the one other piece of follow-up to do is, there was a study by CareerBuilder that said 57% of candidates do zero follow-up. So, and I would actually say it's even higher than 57%. But one other thing you can do to make an impression after the interview, write a thank you note. You know, those old school handwritten thank you notes? They work.
And that goes the extra mile.
It does. If you're not comfortable with the handwritten note, then do an email follow-up. And in that email, express your interest in, thank you for the opportunity to interview, express your interest in the company and opportunity. And if all things are equal and there's two candidates, that might make the difference for you.
Give you that little extra nudge.
Yeah.
All right. So unfortunately, not everyone does get hired. So there are some folks who might be interested in best ways to approach EI benefits.
Sure. So EI benefits, at the end, one thing, if you end up laid off, terminated, whatever the reason, as soon as you can start your job search. Don't wait. And I hear that question a lot. Oh my gosh, my EI benefits are about to run out. What should I do? Well, start your job search earlier. But the other thing, you may have to take a position that's outside of your pay grade or outside of your professional discipline. To an employer, if you do that, it shows resilience, that you can set your ego aside, and that you're doing whatever it takes in order to keep gainfully employed.
Willing to put in that hard work. And because we have you here, we kind of wanted to pick your brain, because we know that we have a prince coming to Canada. We know that he is not going to be, along with Meghan Markle, not going to be taking, royalty money anymore.
Right.
So what kind of jobs might he be up for?
Great question. So the prince has a lot of options when he arrives in Canada. The first obvious one is continuing work as he has with the British military in the Canadian military. So he could help injured, wounded veterans. He would also make a really good military recruiter. So he's got the personality for it to be a great recruiter, and he's also served frontline. He served 4 duties in Afghanistan. So what a great recruiter he would make.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you have it.
He loves sport. That's very clear. Rugby is his sport of choice. Of course, we have rugby in Canada, which isn't as well known of a sport.
No.
It's not our go-to sport. So perhaps he could help elevate the level of sport of rugby in Canada. He's also an avid skier. So if he lands on either side of the Rockies, he could engage any number of the mountains to become a ski instructor.
There you have
Wouldn't
it.
that be great?
I think that would be fantastic as a ski enthusiast myself. I don't think he'll have any troubles, but we
No.
appreciate you so much for being here and all these fantastic tips.
Awesome. Thank you.
And folks, Sheila will be at the TD Indigo on Friday from 11 to 1 if you want to drop by with your resume for a quick assessment. She's also hosting a webinar on Friday as well, and you can find tickets and more information on that event, Bright, or on Sheila's Facebook page. And for more information, go online to SheilaMusgrove.com or find her on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.